Y'all, Smackdown was absolute garbage, and we're going to get to that in a second because I don't even feel like even talking about Smackdown besides the opening segment with Cena and Cody and all that stuff. We need to talk about the current state of this garbage product week after week. Number one, why in the world is nobody around? Carmelo Hayes is in catering. Your WWE champion John Cena shows up maybe once a month if he feels like it. Roman Reigns shows up once every 2 or 3 months if he feels like it. Logan Paul shows up when he feels like it. Randy Orton just disappears after some PLEs for months and then comes back when he feels like it. Cody Rhodes wrestles once every 7 or 8 weeks. Gunther wrestles once every 2 months. CM Punk wrestles every 5 or 6 weeks at this point. Seth Rollins is injured, unfortunately. And The Rock, the final boss, is down in Hawaii drinking his Terramana and having libations with Cody Rhodes. Triple H, the guy making the show, is in the White House popping champagne and popping water bottles and filming hype reels. This dude hasn't booked a good show from start to finish since SummerSlam or WrestleMania 40, but he's in the White House filming hype reels and signing off on laws or bills or whatever. What bill would I need for the United States signed by Triple H? What kind of stuff is that? Get out of the White House and get in the writer's room and make a good story. Why don't you try that for once? What are you doing? We have constant jobbers. We have constant bad Raws, bad Smackdowns, and we have bad PLEs that are just filled with a bunch of Raw and Smackdown level matches that nobody cares about because there's no story. And this dude has the audacity to be sitting up in the White House doing hype reels. Is this a game? We're literally living in a simulation at this point. This has to be a joke. What are we doing? We had WWE Unreal come out this week, which basically exposed multiple facets, of the way that things unfold behind the scenes in WWE. And honestly, quite frankly, the show was pretty garbage, but that's not even besides the point. Some of the stuff in there was cool, to see some of the behind the scenes stuff, but then it gets to a point where we don't need to see all this, okay? I'm tired of seeing Triple H after Rhea Ripley does her match. He's hugging up on her, getting all up close. He's like, Rhea, let go of that anxiety. You're amazing. Breathing up all in her face. Get out of the face and go book a good show, man. What kind of stuff is this? Triple H is an absolute jobber at this point, man. Then he goes into the White House. Donald Trump, I'm gonna make this bill. I'm gonna sign a law. I'm gonna blow some water and make a hype reel. I can't book. Can you make a good show? Please, that is all that I'm asking. I don't give a crap about you spitting water bottles at the White House. Make a good show. But instead of that, as I've been saying since the beginning of time at this point, it feels like, I've been telling you guys, if you skip every Raw and Smackdown this year and only watch the PLEs or watch the segments that Roman or Cena did, you would have missed nothing this entire year of WWE. You've wasted 8 months of the fans' time, and you have the audacity to sit back and after Mania 41, he says if you don't like it, he literally says F off if you didn't like it. Are you kidding me? And this dude still has a job? The WWE Unreal show is all about Triple H. It literally starts off, there's a line taken out from Jerry Lawler, I think, and it's some snippet where it literally says, it's all about Triple H, some moment from commentary back in the day. I'm like, yes, it is all about Triple H. His ego has taken over and made him a problem. I've been saying this for months and months and months, and everyone was like, dude, you're hating, man, you're hating. Well, now look at it. You're getting bad shows, the viewership is declining, the quality is heavily declining, and none of the stories are good, and there's no hype for a SummerSlam that is tomorrow, and it's 2 nights for the first time ever, and you still don't care. Why do you think that is? TKO's fault? Is it The Rock's fault? No, it's Triple Fraud's fault for blowing water bottles at the White House instead of booking a good show for us fans who want to see professional wrestling be great again. This guy's out here again. He's filming Unreal. It's all about him. He films podcasts. He takes time out to shoot podcasts. His wife Stephanie McMahon now has a podcast, okay? He does press. He does the post shows for the PLEs. He takes credit for ideas he took some credit. I think it was a couple months ago. He kind of took credit for Jey Uso yeeting and stuff like that. We're going to put the rocket on you, Jey. We're going to get you ready to win a world title and have a garbage reign and then drop it on a random Raw to Gunther. Really? Listen, this show, this company, Triple H, is a absolute disaster. There's nothing good that you can extrapolate from any of these current shows that we have been getting for this year. It's been an absolute disaster class, and it needs to be taken seriously. No one wants to talk about it and be honest about it, but this is the reality of what's happening inside of this company. This company is dying week after week after week because nobody cares. Triple H can go anywhere and do anything, but the one thing he will not do is give us a good show. It's impossible for this jobber to get it done, and every single week the SmackDown and the Raw reviews get shorter and shorter and shorter because nothing happens, and I don't care what happens. I have not watched a full episode of Raw or SmackDown from start to finish. I can't even tell you. Maybe the Raw on Netflix show from earlier this year, the premiere of it, maybe in January. Since then, I can't tell you one episode of Raw or SmackDown I've watched completely. I really cannot. I do not care, and a ton of the fan base feels the same way at this point because this is just the reality of the situation. So now that we're done bashing the absolute monstrosity that is WWE and the absolute disaster class job that Hunter Hearst Helmsley has been doing so far over the last like year and some change at this point, now we can get into the actual review for Friday Night Job Down. We started off with John Cena coming out, okay? He basically, out of nowhere, he's been heel for months and months and months, but out of nowhere, he basically comes out and thanks Cody Rhodes. He wants to thank you. He wants to respect you. He wants to love you. He wants to appreciate you. You know what I'm saying? John Cena goes out and basically says thanks Cody Rhodes for giving him the push that he needed to become the classic version of John Cena yet again. He says he needed this, he says he needed this. He wanted this. He appreciated this. He knew about this. You know what I'm saying? He's proud of this. You know what I'm saying? John Cena basically says all that stuff and that he needed this moment so that he can finally, get back to what he once was, okay? And he says that he basically screwed up by chasing someone else's idea, I guess referring to The Rock there. He chased someone else's idea and completely forgot who he was, and everyone around him left him. And I'm like, number one, it's very easy to tell, at least in my opinion, I'm assuming that this is a fake, temporary face turn. And when they actually get to SummerSlam, I'm sure he'll probably win the match in a cheap way, even though it's all no DQ because it's a street fight, but still, he's going to use some tactic or something to win. I doubt John Cena stays face, you know what I'm saying, through SummerSlam, and if he does, I assume Cody would turn heel. But you know what? With the way the booking is and how bad it is, we're probably not going to get any Rock, no Travis Scott, no interruptions, no nothing. And Cena may just win clean, or Cody may just win clean, a babyface versus babyface match. Triple H says it all the time. I mean, look at Tiffany and Jade. You had Tiffany coming out last week and helping Jade against a conflict that she had nothing to do with. It's the dumbest booking ever, but it is what it is. So we don't know what's going to happen with that. But that's the situation there. John Cena basically says he wants to take the title home with him at the end of the year, in order so that he can basically make sure the fans do not forget about him. So he wants to be the last real WWE champion. And I'm just sitting to myself, I'm like, dude, let's be honest here. You're John Cena. You're advertised as the greatest of all time. It's been this way for a couple years now at this point. If you actually, once you actually retire at the end of the year, no one's going to forget about John Cena. He's arguably the biggest wrestler ever. Like, what are you talking about at this point? That was stupid. Then he basically says, Cody, you did what a great friend would do. You motivated me. You pushed me. And you helped me get out of a dark place. So now, the champ is here. And if you want some, come get some. And now John Cena basically says he's like, I'm going to be back to fight and dig down deep and pull out the best version of myself in order to finally beat you. You know what I'm saying? Again, at, at SummerSlam for the title. And then after this, Cody Rhodes and John Cena libate together. They sit there and they pop their little weekly American vodka bottles and they literally sit there and drink they drink their libations together. They make a little cheers, they smile together, and that's it. Cody Rhodes is sitting back there smiling as if this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Nobody gives a crap if this dude you're fighting against turned face. You just were beating the crap out of him and forcing him to sign a contract a few weeks ago, which, by the way, if John Cena manages to get pinned in this match, he should easily be able to say he never actually signed the contract under his own will. Therefore, the match is called off and he should get the title back. So either way, John Cena should walk out of this weekend as the WWE champion. So it really doesn't matter who wins the match. John Cena is going to be the champion, or he should be the champion if the booking makes any sense, which is probably not going to, because Hunter Hearst Helmsley is too busy at the White House with freaking water bottles when he doesn't know how to book. But still, John Cena should walk out with the championship. It's just how it makes sense, but it is what it is. It's probably not going to happen that way, but I don't know who cares? Who cares? Genuinely, who cares? Let's move on. John Cena basically, drinks his libations with Cody Rhodes. They make a cheers. He holds the belt up multiple times, gets great reactions from the crowd, and then we end the segment. That's it. He stands tall with the belt. They come in, Cody, take their libations together, and they move on. It is the dumbest and most waste of time segment like ever made. And it's just absolutely stupid. So whatever. It's an obvious dupe. Cena's not going to probably be faced for another month or two. But again, it is what it is. You can't convince these jobbers to do anything good. So whatever. We then move on to get Julia versus Zelina Vega for the U.S. title. Nobody cares about this match. Now, in all seriousness, there was a bunch of botches in this match. There were a few decent spots, but mainly it was just an average or below average match with a bunch of botches. And that's just what it is. Zelina Vega is magically kicking out of superplexes and like signature moves now, which makes no sense because she's never done that before, but now she can do it. And then Julia, at the end, Zelina Vega botches a moonsault very badly, and it was basically about to land on Julia's head, so she had to block it with her knees. And it was just a very embarrassing and bad looking spot. But at the end of the day, Julia ends up retaining, and she stands side by side with her new assistant there, Kiana James, and that's it. This is forgettable. No one's rewatching this. This was a pretty bad or mediocre match, and that's it. We then move on to Mystery Iguana and Psycho Clown versus Los Garza. Nobody cares about this. Let's be honest with ourselves, man. These championships, the AAA championships, the tag belts, the fact that these are even being defended on a Raw or SmackDown shows you that there's nothing that they have to offer. WWE signs all these jobbers, and yet nobody can fill out the spots on these shows. Like Mr. Iguana, literally, he does like a Hurricane Rana, and Joe Tessitore's talking about some, oh wow, look at this, and then a second later, he botches a move on the top rope and nearly falls down off the ropes, and then the next move, he does a springboard move and completely botched that as well. So it's like, what are we doing at this point? We glaze them when they do a good move, and then when they botch, everyone just goes silent and says nothing as if nothing's happening. It's the stupidest thing ever. Los Garza ends up retaining. The fans love Mr. Iguana. Again, I don't care about this. The fans will take anything at this point. The fact that Karrion Kross gets cheered sometimes is just embarrassing at this point. They'll take anything. You don't have to be a great wrestler. You don't have to be consistent. You don't have to be entertaining. You don't have to cut great promos or tell great stories or have elite matches. You don't have to do any of that stuff. All you got to do is if, you just do something that catches on with the audience every now and then, and you'll just get over naturally. Or you can have some artificial push on social media, and that's basically it. So it is what it is. Or you can have an artificial push in the ring too. We then get a backstage segment with Tiffany and Jade Cargill, and Jade Cargill basically just says, I'm going to take the title tomorrow. There's no distractions, no interruptions, and I'm going to take that title from you. I don't care about this match. They haven't built it correctly at all, and this build has been terrible, man. SummerSlam at the end of the day is a situation where it's like all of the build for this and the storylines for all of these matches and stuff basically suck. So we're basically hoping that every match can be great or amazing in order to make up for it. But we all know that's not going to happen to every match. So this SummerSlam at best will probably be a 6 out of 10, and that's being generous, so we'll just see what happens. And then D-Lister Black and Damian Priest fight each other. No one cares about this. There's a lot of corny moments from Damian Priest, like firing himself up during the match. He gets beat up afterwards by D-Lister Black, and I can't even tell you why D-Lister Black is doing all of this. I really can't. Why? Because Damian Priest defended R-Truth in a backstage segment 2 months ago, and now we're fighting and we're just throwing each other against steps and beating each other up. Like, there's no good storyline for any of this stuff, so nobody cares. Damian Priest gets beat up after the match, and it ends in a DQ, whatever. Then we move on from this. We got Tala Tonga versus Jimmy Uso, and Jacob Fatu came out, and guess what happened? They brawled! Yay! Like, dude, get out of my face, man. It's the same segment over and over again. We can just skip this, bro. Nobody wants to see Jimmy Uso versus the same, budget Temu Bloodline members for the 50th time. So let's move on. Then we got Jelly Roll and Randy Orton brawl with Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre and Logan cut a promo to begin it. The segment, obviously. They roasted the green shirt guy who's like at every one of the big WWE events, and that was pretty much it. They brawl. No one cares. Like, we can essentially just move on. Nobody cares. So that's basically your SmackDown, your full-on rant for what's currently happening with this garbage product week after week. And as per usual, just stay tuned for this week. And I don't even want to know how bad SummerSlam is going to be at this point. Because there's a very, very, and I mean like a less than 5% chance this show is even a 7 out of 10 or better. So if it even hits that would be impressive, honestly, at this point. But I still wouldn't care because it's not good enough. I expect every SummerSlam or Mania to be at least an 8 or 9 out of 10 minimum. But that's just me, though. We'll see what happens. I give this show probably a 1 out of 10, and we'll go from there. Stay tuned for the SummerSlam reviews. I will be reviewing both nights, and there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out, and one love.